Westchester County Executive and the newly elected Congressman, George Latimer.
I'm going to do my best to be heard. I'm not sure that the microphone system is going to project it as well, so forgive me if I sound like I'm yelling a little bit. This is a great honor to be here today in the town that I've called my home for more than half of my life. This day to see friends and neighbors that I've known for decades, and that we're all together here to celebrate what is an important day as Americans, not divided by any demographic, but sharing a common commitment to the United States of America. That's what we're honoring today with these men and the men and women that have put on the uniform in this country. I had the opportunity to sit at Kelly's sea level. I'm sure a few of you have been there over the time. Scott Wetzel was there at the time I was there for Game 5 of the World Series. Now, as Leo Matthews' father, Ed Matthews, will attest to it, he and I are big-time Met fans, and I know this is a Yankee town. Jerry was there. And we watched the Dodgers beat the Yankees, kind of a bad inning number 5, and it was kind of a sad night. And so, although I'm a Met fan, I was rooting for the Yankees, and we left pretty unhappy because the Dodgers had won it all. We talked right at the end of the game, as the game was ending, that you might have been a Met fan or a Yankee fan, even a Dodger fan, and there may be a Red Sox fan out here somewhere. Let's hope there's no Phillies. But we were baseball fans. Despite rooting for a team, we love the sport. We love to watch the sport played. And we love to watch it be played at a level that even when we didn't win, it gave us some enjoyment and satisfaction. I saw Edit Mass the next day where we were trying to be penitent for having rooted for the wrong team. And I thought of that when I realized that Veterans Day falls at exactly the right time. It's established because it was the end of World War I, the 11th hour of the 11th day of the 11th month. But it falls after Election Day. And Election Day is a day where our divisions are on display. We're free Americans. We have the right to disagree. We have the right to have different points of view. That's what makes us American. But when the election is over, we need a Veterans Day. We need a Veterans Day to remind us that even though we hold different viewpoints, we're still Americans. We still come together with a common interest and a common future together. And that we have to find ways, with our disagreements, to do exactly what these men have done, which is stand up for our country. Nobody asked Bob Seifert what his political affiliation is when he joined the armed services. Nobody asked Terry McCartney to go through a litmus test of ideas or issues. Nobody asked Tom Seaver or Tony Manto, what's your religion? How do you define yourself? They voluntarily served or were called up by their country to serve their country, regardless of those. And I always remark, when I see any veteran, whether they served in a time of military combat or they served in peacetime, that they served. Because who was on a boat in the Atlantic during the Cuban Missile Crisis and didn't know that they might be in the middle of a nuclear war in 1962? Who stood guard in front of the Berlin Wall and didn't know whether the East Germans were going to come through that wall and create a war? Who stood guard at the DMZ in Korea and did not know on which given day North Korea might decide to attack South Korea, and they would be in the middle of a shooting war? Those that saw combat and those that might have seen combat served this nation. They served this nation by going through basic training. How many of us want to voluntarily shave all our hair off and spend 13 weeks of somebody barking in our face and making us feel like we were maggots in order to turn us into military people? Anybody want to volunteer to do that? These guys did that. And that's why we respect them this day. And that's why we respect this day, and the people that are honored on that plaque, and the people that are honored in everyday living. I see most of these gentlemen at church, or I see them at the senior center, or somewhere in town at Poppy's or LPQ, because we live in this town, and we live with each other, we interact with each other. But by God, these are the real heroes. These are the people whose names should be in the right record all the time. Some of us in public office get noticed. There are friends of mine who served on the Rye City Council standing right here. Bob Cipher, Susanna Keith, and others, Jerry Sykes. We all put our time in that room. I served with Leo's mom, Beth Griffin. The two of us were youngsters when we were in that room. It was a few years ago. I don't want to date Beth, but it was a few years ago. But that service pales in comparison to this service. So we're in our hometown, those of us who live here. Whatever our religion is, however we define our ethnicity, however we define our politics, and we have every right to agree and to disagree. But we come together today to recognize those that potentially put themselves on the line for us, for one reason, because they're American. Thank you, Ben.